Let's talk about Deathless Champions. Hello everybody, this is the last two videos, this one and the next one, which are covering the live stream stuff. So what I've done is one big live stream coverage video, which is a recap in about 20 minutes. And then what I've done is I've broken down each individual topic into coverage. So the final one will be about Alliance Quest, improvements, Alliance raids and stuff like that. So this one is all about Deathless Champions. So if you saw the live stream, you'll know the means of acquisition of Deathless Champions is a bit of a, I'd say, sort of bone of contention. It's a bit of a weird one, because what Kabam have done is they've set a precedence for you having something rare. But obviously how you get something that is rare, you have to go out and grind. Whether or not you're going into Gladiator Circuit this month, doing the completion of Necropolis, or other things as well. The Necropolis piece is going to be a permanent piece for you to obtain, which is good. Kabam's pitch for this is that this is very much a case of a late game collection process. It, I think in some ways, is for those people that complain about there's nothing to do in game, you know, intense spenders of the game, yeah, are just kind of like at a point where, well, I need something to go and spend on or go to get, or and endgame players that are bored, or, you know, this game is their life. You know, those particular players, which, you know, Kabam are doing in the new year, putting more of an emphasis on with this one, which is there's no issue with that. It's good, because what Kabam have to do is they have to keep everybody happy. They don't do that all the time because people have different needs, wants, and interests in progression in the game. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, this is good in some ways, bad in others, and it will feel that you might, I'd say in some ways you might feel rushed, but at the same time, should you feel rushed to get a champion that isn't a trophy champion? There's some really weird stuff that kind of like interlocks with this. Like, you have to collect four to get the fifth one, but the fifth champion is going to be very much an important meta-based champion. It's always very interesting when something like this kind of comes into the game. I think more so because there is more options. It's easier to get the 6-star version than it is to get the 7-star version. I would say that I would probably do a guide about like the best ways to pick up the 6-star Deathless gear team, because it's easier. Right? I say easier because Kabam even say here, the 6-star Deathless champion should be accessible to late game summoners based on engagement across our game modes. Deathless champions pieces sources will be more consistent, but not necessarily identical every cycle. So yeah, look out for that. And summoners collect the 7-star pieces will get the 6-star. I think a lot of us know that already. When it comes to the 7-star, this is where you're going to have to put in some effort in order to achieve getting the Deathless Champions, or 7-star at least. So I don't know what the next one will be. Like, there may be a special kind of challenge. And Kabam have said there's not going to be a Necropolis every single time they do a Deathless Champion piece. So there's not going to be, I don't know, say they do a Deathless King Groot, and there's, I don't know, the head of King Groot, or the branch or whatever it is of King Groot, or heart, or the wooden heart of King Groot. So for example, it might not be King Groot, he might not be there, but there won't be something like, oh, new Necropolis, King Groot piece. It's not going to be like that. So there may be something like, I don't know, a challenge of descriptions to go and get involved with. It may be something else that you kind of like get in time. You know, it may be something locked in act content, which could be quite an important element to this. But yeah, the first thing with the 7-star Deathless pieces is that there's an in-game message. We've got that one. And Battleground Season 12, I've got to get to work on that. I've planned a lot of my next 2 weeks for that one. I've got to get units for Arena. Thankfully, I'm ahead of schedule. I think I'm 1,800 units. Yeah, 1,800 units ahead of my farming schedule. And that's really good, because I was really worried I'd get behind on this. But I need to get a further 3,200 units, which is very much possible, you know. But I need to work, so much work to do in MCOC. Unreal, man. Look, the other thing is Necropolis to get the soul. Body of the Blade, challenge objective. We'll learn more about that, I think, in the new year. Or is that something that's coming with November or December? which I don't know if it's going to be a permanent objective, but I think Kabam said that this would be something like a on the level of a carinas challenge type element to it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And then finally, a banquet milestone, which apparently isn't going to be a ridiculous milestone. I already find that quite weird. I think now is the time. I think going into the new year, I'm going to have to set out a full unit farming program and commit to it. And I always say to her, like, I'd love to have some extra time to play some other games. I just feel at the moment being non-spending in the game and trying to get everything available, trying to get as many units as possible to invest into content grinding, farming, deals, because I don't want to feel left behind if I don't get any of the Cyber Weekend deals, which is going to be really important, especially now more than ever. And I saw some people kind of making some digs, I think it was on Twitter or something, about people like going, oh, well, do content instead, use your units for content. And it's like, well, it's kind of like, it's not as easy as that, because a lot of the time, if you're free to play, you are falling behind with trying to keep up with everybody. You're trying to get rank 2 7 stars now, and this is going to be more important now to get rank 3 7 stars. Is there going to be more tier 4 alpha available in deals? Quite possibly. Is it a case of like, okay, great, I've got this new progression, but at the same time, I've lost more units in order to get the next progression. So, and it's like, oh, well, if you're not super skilled, then it's going to cost you more units. There's a lot of things going on, for players. A lot of kind of like unnecessary stresses. But I think in some cases, a lot of other structures and processes and planning, which, is quite exciting to kind of plan and not kind of get too bogged down with the doo-doo. But in any case, moving on. The 6-star piece, interesting. That the way to obtain this is, and this is what I'm going to devote a video to, best ways or how to get a 6-star Deathless Guillotine, just because, it's hopefully going to be helpful to kind of like put a process in place, because getting that 6-star is actually going to be easier than getting a 7-star piece. You have to bear in mind that. And I'm actually thinking about, okay, well, if you do get the Deathless, and this is the thing, realization I came to this morning with it. Like, if you get the Deathless, which is, I'm just trying to find the image right now, which is the 7-star Deathless. For the 7-star Deathless, you get 1 6-star, but you don't get Awakened. Now, what you could do is you could get the champion, outright and take it from there. Like, okay, well, I got the 6-star, and then when you come to get the 7-star down the line, for me personally, it's not too much of a high cost. Like, I can get all that stuff. However, though, and this is again another kind of issue that kind of goes back into it, like 600,000 loyalty is a lot of loyalty. It is a hell of a lot of loyalty. I mean, not saying that the incursion artifact's not a huge amount, but it's like, that's a hell of a lot of loyalty right there, 600k. So losing out on that is going to be a bit of a difficult one. And I think a lot of players that maybe in my position, you're kind of Paragon, you're thinking about kind of pushing up to Valiant, and also you're thinking about, doing a completion of Necropolis. You're probably thinking to yourself like, right, well, I need to get 7 stars. Because now a lot of things are kind of pinned on the 7-star crystal. And what am I? I'm like 400k away from a loyalty crystal, less than 400k. And I really need to do that. I need more 7-star champions. I need a bit more than, spenders, as I need to go and do the carinas challenge. Not saying that I can't do it right now. I just like to see like I've got a good even spread before I make some decisions about going, okay, well, let's go in this let's go in this direction, or kind of like do this, because it would be nice just for the help out with the content. But in any case, back to the point. So what else is all about this? Well, as Kabam say here, Deathless Champions will have a catch-up mechanic. The intent is to strongly incentivize collection through the intended channels. It will cost units. So this puts more emphasis on farming units, more so for free to play. If you're spenders, this may be a bit more of a process. I don't want to lose out. I don't want to lose my units. My units will be heavily invested into Cyber Weekend and the Banquet Event. And I don't want to lose out on those things, because it could lead to, better, more spicier things that I might be more interested in. And that's something that's going to be more important. So, do bear in mind, plan, think about your future when it comes to like how you want to get these things. It's exciting times to see new things coming to the game, but I would say like planning and prep is so important with MCOC. I have to do it a lot just to kind of like make sure I know what I'm doing. I have to have like a daily MCOC farming to-do list or grinding to-do list, because if I don't, I will lose. Like this weekend, I've got to rank up certain champions, do a lot of battlegrounds, arena, every day's AQ, AW, apothecary. It's like a mean, vicious cycle when it comes to the game, and it's going back to those a little bit of stress days with MCOC. But you know, I do it with a smile. I get on with it, you know, as most people do. So yeah, look, it is what it is with this stuff. What else? Look, missing a piece is going to be very important to try and catch up. But what is it going to be worth it? Well, Command have said like it's not like going to be game breaking. The Deathless Champions, they can have quite different variations on the original kit of the champion, like Guillotine, King Gru, whatever it's going to be, and it will be a fun questing team. There's going to be future challenge objectives which will require the use of Deathless Champions. So you know that's yeah. And it's unlikely to be Battlegrounds or AEW orientated. So, as much as I'm like, great, let's get these Deathless Champions because they're rare to get, in some cases I'm like, well, are they actually worth it? But apparently, because it's going to be a fun questing team, it may be something you want to kind of, you know, look out to get. And of course, as we know, the final Deathless Champion will only be available for those who have collected all of the other Deathless Champions, and will be very powerful. So that's good. And this, I think, is another kind of champion that's going to be meta in the future. So that's hopefully going to be good. That's hopefully going to be good. Deathless Champions, everybody. What are your thoughts on them on this Sunday? If One Piece wasn't trapped behind Necropolis, I'd probably be quite happy with it. But I think this is the thing where a lot of players are now considering that they're going to have to do an initial completion of Necropolis. I personally am working with February 2024 to go in to do a completion in Necropolis, mainly because it's going to be a time slump, and as well because nowadays we don't have any good revive farming methods to have a large amount. It's basically going to be you need a ton of units, to be honest, to start off with. And I think with the process, it's going to be mainly for me like a start farming units after the Banquet Event. Save January and then go in late February, to be brutally honest. And then I'll probably look to get the Valiant title then. But I don't know. It may be much more straightforward than I think with Necropolis. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. Thank you very much for watching this video about Deathless Champions. And I'll see you in the next one. Check out some other content. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.